There was a brief suspension of that during a court matter, but outside of that, he had the power all along. He didn't exercise that power until the day after a new investigation was opened up into him. That's the suspicious issue. That's why we were asking him to show us the letters between himself and the public protector.
Was President Cyril Ramaphosa justified in suspending advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, the public protector? Well, joining me to discuss is Gabriel Crouse of the IRR. So Gabriel, you've actually written a letter to the Office of the President demanding some clarification about the process behind the suspension of the public protector. What did you say in your letter?
That's right, David. President Ramaphosa described himself in this matter as being a process man. And it's really the process that we're concerned with. As far as we can tell, there's very strong prima facie evidence that Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane should be removed. Motions to remove her have been tabled since 2017. Courts have repeatedly found her to be incompetent or otherwise not doing her job properly. So it's not so much the outcome as the process, and in particular, the timing. Ramaphosa suspended her the day after she announced launching an investigation into him, a new investigation, a further investigation related to Phala Phala, the robbery on Ramaphosa's farm. And the day before, a high court was expected to give a declaratory order on whether President Ramaphosa had a conflict of interest for other reasons. So tricky timing. President Ramaphosa was asked about this. He said it, basically couldn't deny that it looks suspicious on its face, but said that if you look into the correspondence that he's had with the public protector since March, you will find that this timing is not suspicious at all, that it is perfectly well explained by the procedure that he put in place through that correspondence with her, which starts with him asking her, why should I not suspend you? And then her giving some answers and him responding to those with further questions and submissions going back and forth. And that, he claims, sets up the timing explanation. Now, what we've said is, okay, show us the letters. In his public statements, he said nothing was hidden, nothing was underhand. And so we expect that there should be nothing to hold the president back from revealing that correspondence to corroborate the version of the story that he's put forward.
Okay, and have you had any correspondence in reply to your letter, Gabriel? Do you think that the president will comply with your request?
So we got a very quick reply from the president's attorneys that day. We know they were very busy. They got back to us and said, we're looking at this. Thank you. We put a deadline of this coming Friday, so just a little bit over a week for the president to consider this request. It's impossible for me to predict one way or another whether the president will comply, but it is pretty clear to me that if the correspondence really does corroborate President Ramaphosa's claims that the timing is not fishy and exonerate him, then there's nothing to hold him back from revealing that information. And in fact, it's very important for him to do so. South Africa is sitting in this tricky position where I think most people are focused on the $800,000 or $4 million or whatever it was allegedly stashed away at Ramaphosa's farm and then stolen, then a cover-up of the robbery. I don't think that that's the biggest story. In other words, the original violation of Forex laws, if there was such, that's not the big story. The big story is the cover-up. The same lesson was learned from Watergate in the United States. The original offense was forgivable. It was the cover-up, and in particular, firing investigators, public officials empowered to look into and apply scrutiny to the chief of the executive. Firing them was considered to be the unforgivable sin committed by the Nixon administration. And I think that would be the most damaging thing if that's what's going on in Ramaphosa's case, that the timing is corrupt. As long as that suspicion hangs in the air, Ramaphosa has a duty not just to clear his own name, but to clear the office of the presidency of this lingering suspicion. And as far as I can tell, it's not good enough for him to say, just take me at my word. He has to supply the evidence. That's the only thing that's really going to clear the air. And so I'm sure that if it does corroborate his version, he will table that evidence. As my colleague Nicholas Lorimer said, it should just be in his inbox, not difficult to find.
All right. Well, Gabriel, what does the law say about the president's ability to suspend the public protector? I mean, do you think that he has followed due process here in terms of activating this suspension?
In a certain sense, he is clearly within his powers. Section 194 of the Constitution deals with the president's power to suspend the public protector, also the Auditor General. And that power is triggered as soon as Parliament starts looking into removing such a high-ranking official. The Democratic Alliance first tabled a motion to remove Busisiwe Mkhwebane back in 2017. And then the pushback was that there are no proper rules of Parliament to dictate how the process is supposed to go from that side. That was then cleared up in 2019. And there's a 17-step process that's been laid out in the rules of Parliament. And as soon as step one has taken place, and that's rule 129R, as soon as step one has taken place, the president can suspend. Step one is just for a member of Parliament to table a substantial motion that the public protector needs to be removed. So in a sense, it's a very low bar. The substance of that motion is vetted by the Speaker of Parliament. It's a pretty easy bar to cross. But what that means is, for example, as the Western Cape High Court ruled just last week, Ramaphosa had this power since at least February 2020. In other words, for much over 2 years, Ramaphosa has had the power to remove Busisiwe Mkhwebane. There was a brief suspension of that during a court matter, but outside of that, he had the power all along. He didn't exercise that power until the day after a new investigation was opened up into him. That's the suspicious issue. That's why we were asking him to show us the letters between himself and the public protector.
The optics of that don't look great, Gabriel. So what does this mean for the president politically? Do you think that his power is weakening in the run-up to the ANC elective conference at the end of this year? Do you think that we could see a crumbling of his power?
It's certainly not good for the president, but I think that his popularity remains so much higher than that of the ANC that it's going to be difficult to remove him on the eve, essentially, of a national election in 2024. The South African economy is not performing well. In per capita terms, we are still far, far behind our 2011 peak. Material conditions are difficult, and we have seen consistently that creates a frustration with the ruling party amongst the electorate. The ANC needs to do whatever it can in order to survive with a majority in Parliament in 2024 in terms of brand management. And I think Ramaphosa, although his brand is being damaged here, is still the brand beacon of the ANC. So they're in a quandary. It's going to be very difficult to go forward with him with all of these allegations looming over his head. It's going to be impossible for the ANC to go forward without him. I think that the chief editor of News 24 actually got it right in an opinion piece that he tabled a week or so ago, saying Ramaphosa is likely to survive as the head of the ANC, but the ANC is not likely to survive as the head party of South Africa in 2024.
Gabriel Crouse, thank you very much. Let's hand over to you, our audience. Do you think that Mr. Ramaphosa has some questions to answer about the timing of his suspension of the public protector? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also do remember that the CRA has a range of other products and services available exclusively to clients of the CRA. Do check out the link in the description below for more information. My name is David Ansara. This is the CRA. Until next time, take care.